Good afternoon. I'm Liz Purnell, an Education and Training Specialist with the Institute of Child Nutrition, and I would like to welcome you to the November Team Up Thursdays webinar on Teaming Up for Professional Standards Resources. The Institute of Child Nutrition, in conjunction with its Applied Research Division, has collaborated with USDA to develop Team Up for School Nutrition Success. Team Up is a unique learning experience designed to enhance the operation of school nutrition programs. It provides tailored technical assistance to programs that want to maintain a healthy environment and increase student participation. Team Up began as a pilot workshop back in 2014. As a follow-up to that event, a monthly webinar series was launched. The Team Up Thursdays webinar serve as a platform to further enhance partnerships and to provide an opportunity for all school nutrition professionals to discuss issues and provide solutions and best practices used by districts in key areas. The ICN has created a website for all materials and resources specifically related to Team Up. You can find the information at www.theicn.org/teamup. Thank you for joining today's webinar on professional standards resources, where our panel from USDA's Team Nutrition will present information on the release of the new web-based professional standards training tracker tool, version 2.0. We will see a live demonstration of how this new tool works. It is able to provide several fantastic time-saving features such as tracking training hours for multiple employees, running reports, uploading training certificates, and auto-populating school contact information. Today you'll learn how easy it is to use the tool and all about the benefits it will provide for managers and staff. You'll also hear about other resources to assist you in meeting professional standards requirements. I'm pleased to introduce our panelists today. Kashaya Hindenya, who is a nutritionist with USDA's Food and Nutrition Service, will start us off. Then we will hear from Sheldon Gordon, who is the Chief of Nutrition Training and Operational Support Branch of USDA's Food and Nutrition Service. He'll present next, and then before we close out, I'll wrap us up with a few announcements. During today's webinar, all attendees are muted. There will be time for questions following the presentation. If you have a question, please type it in the question box on your screen. So we'll get started, and Kashayla, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Liz. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. We're excited to have this presentation for you today. As Liz mentioned, I'm Kashaya with the Nutrition and Technical Assistance Branch of Child Nutrition Programs, and I also have here Sheldon Gordon, my colleague, the branch chief, from the Nutrition Training and Operational Support Branch. So to go over our session overview today, first we'll begin with a brief overview of the professional standards for school nutrition professionals. And next, the very exciting, as we all been waiting for, is finally here. We're excited to release the new Professional Standards Training Tracker 2.0 today, this evening, and I'll be doing the demo of the meat of the presentation. And lastly, we will present other available professional standards resources, including both from USDA and the Institute of Child Nutrition. To begin with the brief overview that most of you are already aware of, professional standards are a key provision of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010 and are designed to help advance the field of school nutrition by establishing minimum hiring and annual training standards. The Professional Standards Rule went into effect July 1st, 2015 for school year 15-16. It is the first rule to establish professional standards for employees that manage and operate the National School Lunch and School Breakfast Program. The final rule establishes minimum hiring standards for new state and local directors of school nutrition programs and annual continuing education and training requirements for all school nutrition personnel. The new standards also apply to state directors of distributing agencies. So why are professional standards required? By requiring professional standards, Congress recognizes the important role of school nutrition personnel and their impact on the well-being of millions of school children nationwide. Professional standards are a key provision of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010 and are designed, I'm sorry, I already repeated that, sorry. Excuse me. Professional standards for school nutrition professionals, goals. The hiring standards for new state and local directors will ensure that those administering and operating the school nutrition programs in the years ahead have a solid foundation to carry out their duties. The goal is to select the most qualified candidates to serve in the school nutrition program. The annual training standards will help ensure that all school nutrition personnel continue to develop their skills and expertise. We commend our schools for making so much progress in offering healthier options during the school day. Many of our kids spend the majority of their waking hours each day in school and consume half their daily calories from school meals. By enhancing school nutrition careers, we are giving our hardworking and caring professionals the tools and training needed to create a school environment where our children are healthy, engaged, and productive learners. Now for the exciting news. What we all have been waiting for is finally here. We're excited to release our new professional standards training tracker tool this evening. Look out for the partner web announcement, and also we'll be promoting through Twitter as we go live. You are in for a treat today for a demonstration of the new tool. As you know, the final rule requires each school food authority to maintain records that annually documents compliance with the professional standard requirements for all school nutrition program employees. Documentation must be adequate to support the state's satisfaction during administrative reviews that employees are meeting the minimum professional standards. In an effort to assist with tracking and record keeping of all the required trainings, we developed the Professional Standards Training Tracker Tool version 1.0, which was the downloadable, and we took into consideration of all the feedback we received on that first tool and put efforts into making a revised version, applying all your feedback and addressing many of the issues encountered on the first tool. As I mentioned, we are very excited to announce the release of this new web-based Professional Standards Training Tracker tool. This online version will provide great features such as allowing managers to enter training for multiple employees, running reports, editing files, auto-populating school contact information. The tool will also show managers and or staff how many training courses and hours are taken and how many hours remain to be completed to fulfill the annual training requirements. The tool will also provide a list of training from the USDA Professional Training Database that users can select, and the course information and training hours will auto-populate for you, making this tool more user-friendly and easy to navigate. And as I mentioned, these are all features, all feedback that we received from the earlier one that we wanted to make sure that we incorporate to make the user experience a lot more friendly and more easy to navigate. So I'm very excited to do the demo for you today, and in the interest of time, I'm going to start the demo here with some screenshots and then move into the actual tool to do a live demo. So this is the first screen giving you instructions on how to create an account to enter the system. As a USDA application, it is an e-authentication account is required. But if you already have an account that you have created to use for other tools, such as the newly released interactive food buying guide, you can use the same account here. If you do not have an account, you can click on the link provided on this page as I highlight circles on this page, which will take you to the e-authentication registration, which simply you put your the required information, just your name and email address, and you make up your the user ID and the password that you want to use, and then you will submit. You will shortly receive an email with a link to activate your account. After waiting about, I think, 5 to 10 minutes, you are ready to start using the tool. So once you have your login information, you have an account, you can click the button that says new or existing user login, which will take you to the page where you will enter in your user ID and the password from your e-authentication account. For the first time that you sign in onto the tracking tool, you will be able to select to tell a little bit about yourself, what type of user you are. The functionality works the same no matter which user you select. Only difference is when you're creating your profile. For example, for the school, you'll be selecting the school information, and for state agency, you'll be selecting your state information. So here's a screenshot of what you would see when you're creating your profile. All the information that you entered as far as your name and the email address will be pulled in from your e-authentication account. Then you would simply fill in the rest of the information, such as your job title. If you are a manager, you'll be able to designate yourself as a manager here. You could also put down the manager's name who keeps track of your training hours or who supervises your training hours. And you also will be able to enter in your school information. We have a list of available schools in our database, both public and private. You simply start typing in the name of the school, and the list will auto-populate for you to select. Now, if you don't happen to find the school that's associated with you, not a problem. You can simply click on the Add New button, which will open up this form where you can enter in the information for your school. You will save it and then be able to go back and be able to find it on the list to add to your profile. Now, as a state agency user, the same information is there, your name, the email, the job title, the hiring date. You can select yourself as a manager. And the only difference here is you select which state that you are associated with. And once you have set up your profile, you are set to start using the tool. And this is a screenshot. So when you first log in, you notice you have a message letting you know, based on the job title that you selected, how many hours are required to do your training, and how many days are left to fulfill your training hours. So at this point, I'm going to go into the live part of the demo. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and log in with my user ID. And here we are on the first page. So for the first time you come in, you'll note that you won't have any information. You haven't started logging in. But I'm using, for the part of the demonstration, I'm going in as a manager, on a manager role. So you can see that I've already started to enter in some training. Once you start entering the training, you'll see all the recent trainings that you have entered in on the very first page. I mentioned before, you also get the notification telling you how many hours are left for you to complete to meet your training requirements. So right now, we'll just go through showing you some features. I'll start off with, so this is the home page. For the main part of the tracking tool is to enter your training. So let's go and enter in a training. So you simply start typing in the name of the training that you want to record. As I believe I mentioned earlier that we are using the trainings that we have available on our USDA Professional Standards Training Database. So with any of the trainings that we have listed on the database, you will be able to find here. So you can start typing in a name of the training title, and it'll start populating a list for you to select from. Once you select, you'll notice some of the information is already auto-populated. The training provider information is auto-populated, as well as it brings up the key areas and the training topics and the learning objectives that are associated with this training. You do need to select which key area and which training topic. And in the instances when you have multiple learning objectives, if both of them apply, you'll be able to select all, or you can select one. The training hours are also auto-populated, and please do note, if for some reason on our training database, if there is an error on the number of hours that was associated with this training, or you did not complete that full training, you only did half the training, especially for those online e-learning modules where you can do just certain modules and get certain number of hours, you will be able to edit the training to put down the number of hours that you completed. And I want to make a point here where the difference in a manager role and or if you're going as a regular employee. As a manager, I mentioned before, that has the opportunity to add training for all of their employees. This is one of the main feedback that we received from the first tool that we have put out. Everybody wanted, most people have stated that they are the ones who keep track of trainings for their whole district or for their whole school, then they want to be able to add trainings for all of their employees. So that is what we have made possible in this tool. So to do that, you will be able to set up an employee roster and then be able to select all the employees that are associated with you and assign the trainings to all of your employees. Okay. So yes, you do need to, I want to make a point that for the school year, you do have the option to add the training to the past school year, the current school year, and to the future school year, that when the states that do allow for certain training hours to be put in for the future school year, you do have that option. And notice that all the required fields, if you do not fill in one of the required fields, it does let you know that you did not finish completing the form before you can save it. So once you have saved the training information in your training history, it'll tell you which training that you entered, the completion date, and the training hours. So going back to talking about the manager's role. So as a manager, you have the option as if an employee can also, if you allow your employees to do their own tracking, they have the option to create their own profile and do their own training, but they can still designate you as a manager. Or the manager has an option that they can go and create profiles for their own employees. When you go into the Employees tab, first you can check to see my employees, are they already on here? Have they already created their profile? You could search by name. And for this purpose, we did it that all the, for all the school employees under one district, so as a district manager will be able to get all the employees under their own district. So the districts do need to match. You'll be able to search for the name by the first name and last name in search, or if the employee did designate you as your manager, you'll see them already populate on the list over here. Another way, so to make sure they're on your employee roster, once you have searched for the employee, you can employee that had already created their profile, you can say add to employee roster. And you'll start seeing them populating. Now, if they did not create their own employee profile, the manager wants to create the profile, you have the option to create an employee profile for that person. Now, if the manager does create the profile for the employee will not be logging in themselves because they did not create an e-authentication account, but it's the manager who created the profile so they can track their hours. And this is also helpful for those employees that may not have computer access, or it's also helpful if there's one designated person who in your district, in your school, in your state that is taking care of tracking everybody's training hours. The other thing I want to show, the next feature that I wanted to touch upon is the report. We have a couple of different types of reports that you are able to do. If you did use the downloadable version, some of the report types are the same, but they do work a little bit better than what we had before we fixed some of the problems that were related to us, and trying to make this a little bit more easier to navigate and bring more information that you need. So as a manager, you can be able to print a report that shows all your employees, training hours, all the training that they did by the title, broken down by the key area, the training topic, learning objective. So this is a very detailed report that goes by every single training that was done. Or you could do a summary of a summary report of just gives you a summary total hours that was completed, and this is done by school year. You could also do a summary report by, if you want to see if how many of your employees have done the training on a certain key area or a certain a learning objective. You also have the option to do that. We are trying to enhance the reports even more to make it a little bit more easier. So currently, to print, you can save it as a PDF and then print it that way. And we made sure to include that instructions. I'm sorry, we're having a little bit of issue with our network. It's a little slow. Bear with me a bit. So yeah, you can save it as a PDF and print it that way, or even email it to yourself or export it. And we have included instructions on how to print the PDF, and we also have information, more detailed information on how to print on the user guide as well. As you start using the tool and if there are other features or more capabilities that you would like to see on the reports, please share all your feedback with us, and we will take into consideration everything that we can get into the tool to make your user experience more as easy and enhanced as possible. So those are the reports. Some other features, we have a link to any other resources that are helpful for you on professional standards. I mentioned the user guide. There's a detailed user guide showing you the feature on how to utilize the feature. What we are working on is making a training video that will take you through, it'll take you through doing the, using the tool. This is not quite ready for our first release, but we are working on it and hope to have it ready for you pretty soon. So with, and so anytime that if you're a new user and you want to know how to, you forgot or you want to brush up on how to, you're not sure on how on some of the features, you can always check out the video as well as the user guide. And also, we have a way for you to contact us. Our Nutrition Technical Assistance branch has the mailbox that if you have any questions about using this tool, questions on professional standards, that you could email us at the mailbox. And one, lastly, on the last tab here, it gets you to your profile, and if there you need to make some edits to your profile, such as your job title have changed. It is possible that you change schools and need to edit that information. You are able to do so here. And if you do move to a different school or a different state, you can also do, edit your profile this way as well. And at this point, that concludes our the demonstration. As I mentioned, look out for our partner web announcement, and we'll be promoting it through Twitter as we go live this evening. And please, when you get a chance to check it out, if you have any feedback, send it our way to our mailbox. Any additional features that you would like to see in the future, any enhancements that you think will make your life easier using this tool, feel free to send it all our way. And we are going to continue we're working on a few further enhancements, and we'll be doing future and more promotions as we do more enhancements as well. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sheldon, who's going to go over some more of our USDA resources that we have.
Well, thank you, Kashaya. It looks very interesting, and I'm sure the folks out there will find that this is a very useful tool for them as they start to track their employee hours. So I will today go over just some of the USDA professional standard resources that we do have available on our website. And so I would like to start with our actual website, so you can pull that up. Of just what our professional standards has, the latest information and resources that are available to help guide you through this whole process. We definitely wanted to make sure that we put everything on our website so that it's easier for you to try to navigate through the whole understanding of professional standards. On this page, you will find that there's technical assistance and guidance materials, such as the frequently asked questions. It has the policy guidance, the Q&A memo, SP 39-2015, and it explains the hiring and training standards as an easy-to-read Q&A format. We also have a colorful professional standards for school nutrition program employees brochure that you can download. On there, you'll also find a helpful link to ICN where they have a sample research-based job description templates, including the general function and scope of responsibilities as described in the 14 functional areas for the district school nutrition directors and supervisor positions. And then lastly, we also have the guide for professional standards for school nutrition programs, which I'll talk about next. The Guide for Professional Standards was released in January 2016, and this easy-to-use booklet is designed to help you to understand and apply the final rule on professional standards. It provides the who, what, when, how to meet training standards, and where to find trainings. The guide is also available as a PDF that you can download and print. The Professional Standards website also provides information on training, such as the link to the training tracker tool, which Kashaya just demoed for us earlier, as well as a link to the USDA Professional Standards training database, also which Kashaya mentioned earlier in her presentation. The database contains over 500 low-cost or free trainings. Again, to access the training base, just use the link provided on the slide below. In the Professional Standards training base, all the trainings are listed by the key area, training topic, and the specific learning objective. For example, under operations, there are topics such as food production and serving food. The Professional Standards training database allows school nutrition professionals to search for trainings that meet their learning needs in an easy-to-use website. The trainings listed in the database includes trainings that are available online, including webinars, as well as in-person training, and is fully searchable by training category. Each listing contains information about the training, including how to access, the developer, the date, learning objectives covered, and more. It is FNS intent that the continuing education and training may be undertaken in a variety of formats. Training would also be acceptable from a wide variety of other sources. Trainings provided by FNS, SNA, and other professional associations, commercial vendors, academic institutions, or provided in-house by the state or LEA are examples of some potentially acceptable sources. Now I will highlight the Institute of Child Nutrition Training. As you may know, ICN is funded by USDA and provides a plethora of trainings to help child nutrition professionals. Today I'll highlight the e-learning portal. ICN's new e-learning portal was launched on June 24, 2017, and it provides an enhanced online training experience, anytime, anywhere. Detailed learning management system with searchable catalog enables the user to keep track of their learning online easily. It's also mobile friendly and it's responsive to mobile site or app downloads available. Offline playing and syncing. Again, courses are downloadable and can be taken when you're not connected to Wi-Fi, and course information syncs when the device is connected back to Wi-Fi. The site also provides promotional video, course catalog, and how to use videos and tips. As of November 6th, there are now 35 courses available, and there are another 23 courses that are under development, so stay tuned for more. What's new is you'll be happy to know that the 4th edition of the Nutrition 101 online course is available now. About this course, the course has been revised for school nutrition staff and school nutrition managers who need just a basic understanding of nutrition. Completion of this course will give participants a basic understanding in the foundation of nutrition, current dietary guidance, the importance of physical activity and health, and the awareness of personal taste preferences and health food choices. This course provides 8 hours of instructions, which again, since it's online, can complete it in chunks that work best for the child nutrition professional. Also, this course falls under Key 1 area for the following codes, and that's 1300, 1310, and 1320. There's also the Manager's Corner, which is designed for directors and managers to train staff. These 15-minute training sessions is a perfect way to obtain training hours in a short period of time without having to commit a long period of time during the workday. Each lesson is about 15 minutes long and contains the following components: learning objective, the importance of the topic, materials list, instructions, questions for the staff, and additional resources. The additional resources are the way to enhance or serve as a refresher for the director and the manager. We hope that you enjoyed our session today on Team Up for Professional Standards. At this time, we'll entertain the questions that you have, and we see that there have been a few that have come in, so we'll read them off.
And a lot of it is on the tracking tool, so I can get back online so I could actually demo some of, to answer some of the questions. And we do have, we finished a little earlier than expected, so we can answer, hopefully go through a lot of your questions. So the first question is this tool a requirement? Definitely not a requirement to use. It's, as any of our resources just out there for as a useful tool. It is voluntary. You're still welcome to use any other tools that you have been using. This is just what we are providing as a helpful resource for those that are in need of a tool to track your hours. If one individual is responsible for tracking the whole district, is this process done differently? So if you're a district person, that you can go in as a manager, create yourself as a manager, and that you'll be able to add all the employee to your roster on everybody in your district. So we are working on enhancing, hopefully, and be ready the next couple of months, where you will be able to easily add all of your employees from the same district all at once, instead of going through adding one person at a time. But it will be useful for this feature, for this purpose, to have one person who is required to do all the tracking. Will it only allow you to only track USDA related trainings? No, it doesn't. And I'm sorry if I did not mention this. And let me go back into the tool to show you what you can do. So if you do not find the training that is that you're looking for, you still can enter in the training, and then we do notice that all the trainings that are out there is not included in our training database. So simply click on Add New Training Title, and this is similar to what I showed you before of adding new school, that you could enter in your information for the training that you want to enter in. The name of the training, the hours, the training provider, you select the key areas that's associated with your training, and you can select multiple if you need. Then you go to choose the training topics that is related to your key areas, and you can choose multiples again. And then, so based on how many that you use, you'll then go on to do the learning objectives for each of these training topics. And again, you can do multiples as well. And before you save it, you have a chance to review, make sure that it is what you, your information is correct. And then you can save it, which will add it to that list now, so that you can go back and find it and add it to your training record. And I see that another question about, can you code more than one key area and one training topic at the same time? It is done a little differently than how the learning objective is being done right now, and this is only temporarily, as we are working to make that feature a little bit more easier to navigate. At this point, you will need to record the training. Let's say you have two key areas that you want for it to count towards. You will have to record it twice, but make sure that you adjust your hours. So let's say we want to do both nutrition and operation. You would, let's say you want to count 2.5 hours for nutrition and then 2.5 hours for operations. And so you save that, the first one, and then you'll come back again and enter the training again, use the second key area that you want to do. And the same thing with the training topic. And we do have a tooltip here that gives you instructions on how those are handled correctly. And as I mentioned, we are working towards making this feature, also enhancing this feature for better navigation. Go to the next question. If an employee does not have an employee email, does the manager use her email for the employee? So if the manager is creating the profile for the employee, yes, they can use that for their employee. Can there be more than one manager, for example, the district director and each site manager? So as I mentioned, yes. Let's say I'm one manager for that school, and then you have another manager that the district manager wants to add both that one school manager and the other school manager, and all of the employees that are following them. They will be able to do that with our next enhancements release. But for one employee right now, there is only one manager currently assigned for that one employee. I was using the old tool. Will that information be transferred over to this updated tool, or do we have to re-enter the previous yet? At this time, yes, you will have to, but this is on our list of items to complete for this school year that we are working with our contractor to see how we can make this feature possible for you. But at this time, yes, you will have to re-enter all the information. One second while we are looking. Some of the questions are similar questions. So when will this be available for us to use? As I mentioned, we are going live this evening. And so starting tomorrow morning, it will be ready for use. Are these professional standards required for child care centers, or is it just for schools? Professional standards are just for school nutrition professionals. Is there a way to upload supporting documents to each profile, signing roster, certificate, etc.? Yes, there is. And let me show you. So you can go into any of the trainings that you have entered, click on it, and you have the option to upload training documents. And you would type in the name of the document that you want to upload, the type of document, agenda, tendency, or other, and choose your file that's saved on your computer and upload it, and it will be attached with that particular training. Does the director role have the same profile rights as the manager? Yes, so the director is the manager role as well. So we have two roles, you can say, manager or director. employee. So a director can put themselves down as a manager. You showed the number of days left to obtain required hours in the year. Is this based on the federal fiscal year or the school year? It is based on the school year. A lot of the questions, just want to clarify that a director is the same role as a manager role. So a director could access the manager role and add employees and add training to all their employees. If the manager changes or leaves, does that need to be edited? Does the employee information that has been entered stay tied to the school? If the employee does not leave yet, that information, that their profile is still within that school, and the new manager information can be updated to their profile. And if an employee leaves that school and goes to a different school, and they could also then edit their profile with the new manager and new school. Currently, is there only the ability to pull a report for all employees who have completed a training, or is there a way to pull a report to see which employees have not completed a training? Currently, yes, the ability is to pull a report for employees who have completed training. So if you have your employee roster and you can pull do the report on all your employees and be able to see if if an employee is not on that report at this time. But that is a good suggestion. We will take that into. I will note that down for some consideration and talk with the contractor. Do you have any suggestions for getting staff? Do you have any suggestions for getting staff to participate in training? Breakfast, such as breakfast. Do you want to take that question, Sheldon? Do you have any suggestions for getting staff to participate in training? I.e., breakfast in the classroom, teacher, staff that needs the required training, but staff refuse to make time for required training.
So, I mean, the one thing to, I guess, emphasize again is that the professional standards are in effect. And so just to remind them of their hours that they need to have completed, you as a supervisor or manager have the right to specify which class, if there's a special training that you want your particular employees to partake in, as long as the state agrees with that, then that's something that you could do. If you're talking about staff outside, and I'm just not sure if I'm understanding your question, if you're talking about your school nutrition professionals, or if you're just talking about staff in the school as in the teacher. If in the case of the teacher, then obviously no, you cannot force them to take training that they're not obligated to take, but you could tell them the benefits of participating in the training so they have a better understanding of, why there is breakfast in the classroom, or any other topic areas that you think are necessary and how it could benefit them in the end.
Should a training topic not listed be cleared by USDA for use toward professional standards? So if not sure if I make sure I understand your question. If you're meaning that from the list of available trainings on the database, and you took that training and it's missing a training topic that should have been assigned to it, yes, please do let us know about that. But if you're asking about a training topic that is not one of the listed topics, yes, please do bring it to our attention, and we can see where.
Yeah, unless, and again, I guess it's kind of hard to tell from the text, but if you're talking about one that hasn't been cleared by USDA, so if your state, or as I kind of mentioned, a vendor or another entity provided a training to you, then, you know, that's something that you would talk with your supervisor about, as well as address that with the state to make sure that that is something that they would find acceptable, so that when they are doing their reviews, that, you know, you do get credit for the training that you are taking. But no, everything does not need, not all trainings developed are cleared through USDA. We do ask that when folks develop trainings that they do meet key components of it, of what's needed to be a training. But, you know, trainings can be 15 minutes long. They can be, you know, a few days long. It just kind of depends. But it's really kind of looking at what the criteria is and looking at the agenda of the training to see whether that's something that would meet your state's needs.
As a director, who do I put as the person designated to monitor my training?
So that's really going to vary depending on how your school system is set up. In some cases, they don't have a person above them, so you have to look at the titles to really see what would fit best. But in most cases, you would just be reporting that to your boss. And I don't know the procedures. It would depend on your school district and state how they track those hours.
And let me also add in that on the tool, you, if you're doing your own hours, you don't, it's not required unless that is done, you're told that you do need to put a manager in there. You don't have to enter in a manager or whoever is overseeing your training hours. If that's, as Sheldon said, it's based on what is set up for your school, your state, your district. But as far as the tool, it's not a requirement. You can move forward if you do not put somebody in there. There's another question about child care providers. If you're meaning what tool would you suggest for child care?
There's quite a few different tools out there. I mean, it really kind of depends on how the child care center is structured. I mean, for some, an Excel spreadsheet would work just fine, but if you have a large number of your like independent daycare centers and things like that, it would really kind of depend really on what's best. We don't have any one tool that's best. I mean, ICN does also have a tracking tool in their learning portal, e-learning portal, so that may be another option for your CACFP folks.
What is the best way to register 9,000 employees? That is, as I mentioned before, something that we're working very hard to make it available for you pretty soon, so that you will be easily, say if you, we're working towards that you have the main manager and they want to add in all of the employees under them to do kind of like a hierarchy way. So let's say at the district level, you want to bring in all the employees from the different schools. That you'll be able to add the director for one school and bring in all the employees from that school. But as of yet, that is not available on the tool, but it is what we are currently working on to, just was not quite ready for this first release, but we wanted to make this tool available for you to still be able to track your hours and continue to work on enhancements. And I think that concludes our time for questions. There was a lot of repeated questions, but we will make sure that we go through all the questions and after this. Again, please feel free to email our the technical assistance mailbox, cnpntab@fns.usda.gov, if you have further questions that did not get answered during the webinar on the tracking tool. Again, on the tracking tool, once you start using it, you do have the contact us. The email is available in a couple of different places. Over here on the user guide, on the very first, when you first go into the tool, there's also our email addresses available there. If you have problems accessing the tool, email us and we'll get you squared away with that as well. If you have problems with getting your e-authentication account set up, we could also walk you through and get you set up for that as well. So I'm now going to turn it back over to Liz to finish up the webinar.
Thank you, Kashaya. I'd also like to thank Sheldon for sharing with us as well today. Before we conclude, I just have a few announcements. The usual reminder that today's webinar has been recorded and can be viewed on the Team Up for School Nutrition Success website at www.theicn.org/teamup. Team Nutrition for School Nutrition Success for managers is coming in early 2018. And the state snapshots that promote the summary of Team Up events happening around the country are also available on our website. This concludes our Team Up Thursdays webinar, and thanks again for your participation and have a great day.